Hello out to all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game I Dig. I thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening into another Gamer's Thoughts discussion. And I do know that it has been a while, and I'm sorry that it has taken me so long to get back into doing these. Life has been busy and hectic, and I've been doing a lot of different things. But that said, the subject matter of today is F-Zero, and it's because there have been a lot of people complaining online that they want more F-Zero games, and most of these people, I believe, have not actually played an F-Zero game at all in their life. Said a lot of that very quickly. I should have slowed myself down. But and it's because an ex-producer from Nintendo came out and said that F-Zero as a series is not dead. They just haven't known what to do with it. Now, I will call bullshit on that. There are many different things they could have done with this game, and I have plenty of ideas myself, and I know if I thought of these ideas, there's no way in the world that Nintendo, of all companies, hasn't thought of ways to improve the F-Zero series and bring it back. It's not about the fact that they couldn't figure it out. We'll get to that in a moment. But also, there was something I want to go over because a good buddy of mine, Shadow Fox, he was having a conversation on Twitter about it and about why F-Zero hasn't been doing well, and made the statement that F-Zero is harder than Dark Souls. I actually agree with that statement. And there'll be plenty of people who'll be like, what do you mean? There is no way in the world that F-Zero is harder than Dark Souls. I'm going to give it to you right here from a person that has played both series. If I were to pick up and play either one of these games from scratch. Actually, no, take that back. Anyone were to pick up and play either of these games from scratch. No instruction manual, nothing telling you what to do. Dark Souls is easier to figure out than F-Zero. And someone will say, well, how can you say that about a racing game versus an action-adventure game that tests your patience and your willpower and your skill? While Dark Souls is a difficult game, and I wish people would stop saying that it is the most difficult game series out there. No, it is not. There are plenty of things out there that are more difficult than Dark Souls. But the thing with Dark Souls is the game asks you to pay attention to detail. And it either asks you to pay attention to detail or you run trial and error until you figure it out. It's not hard. It's really just the 3D version of all of the old school games that were in the arcades. That's literally it. That's all it is. You either pay attention to detail and get it right the first time, or you're punished so many times that you find the right answer. That's really all it is. It's just testing your ability to adapt. Honestly, any video game is that, but that's what Dark Souls is at its core. Whereas F-Zero, you could play that game and get so good at it that you know the tracks in and out, left and right, back and forth. You can know those tracks perfectly. And that game is still difficult. You want to know why? It's mostly down to the way the AI behaves in the game. In any of the games. But more realistically, it's also the design on the SNES and the Game Boy Advance games that add to the difficulty because of how it's laid out. But for F-Zero X and GX especially, the other racers are actually difficult to deal with on higher levels. They do actively try to take you out while you're racing. So you could literally run a perfect race and still end up like 5th and below and not win. That's how tough F-Zero gets to be, especially if you're playing, again, with no instruction manual. Dark Souls has a built-in tutorial. F-Zero does not. So again, Dark Souls gives you clues as to what you need in order to do everything. F-Zero just throws you on a racetrack and says, go have at it. See if you can do it. And for anyone who's not played either of these, Dark Souls would be easier to navigate. That's what makes that game easier. Now, to get on to back to what I was actually coming to talk about, the reason that F-Zero doesn't do well, I mean, the reason that Nintendo hasn't reinvested in F-Zero is because it doesn't sell well. That's literally it. I mean, they'll look at it and think about it and come back to it every now and again. But and I do agree with people that, yeah, just taking one of their games, putting it online, polishing up the visuals would do a lot for just putting the game back out. But at the same time, you have to be able to guarantee that that game is actually going to do well enough that they turn a profit from it, or a decent profit, and would be willing to invest more money into it. And if you can't guarantee that, then you can't sit there and complain that you're not getting what you want, especially if you haven't played the series before and you're only asking for it because other people on social media who were major voices in gaming at some point or another asked for it. I asked for another F-Zero game because I genuinely want another F-Zero game. I genuinely want to play a new F-Zero game. I would love to see a new F-Zero game come out. And if I could ever convince Nintendo to do it, I would have a plan for it. Which I will talk about at some point. I'm not going to do that here. But I've loved F-Zero since the first game on the SNES. I've been a fan of the series. I've played every game in the series, but maybe two of them. One, well, both of those were Japanese exclusives, and I think that's the broadcast satellite F-Zero and the one that came out on the Game Boy Advance that allowed you to edit and create your own tracks. Those are the only two I haven't played. That's legitimately it. Those are the only two I haven't played that were officially released. And when they came back to the Wii U eShop, I bought all of them when they were on there. So I supported the franchise. I have F-Zero X. I have 2 copies of F-Zero X. I have F-Zero GX. Used to have the original cartridge of F-Zero, but that was lost long ago. So, but the thing is, the games, it doesn't do very well. It just doesn't. And with a company that tried multiple times sprucing it up, bringing it back to people. Now, in the day and age of online racers, I do think that it would fare better. I do think it would fare much better having an online component. But you have to also remember, F-Zero is a high-speed game. And if one person has a laggy connection online, ooh, that's going to mess up the whole experience for everybody. But if they can get the game out and have a decent online connection and everything, that game would be fun as hell to play online. Especially if they bring back the death loop for F-Zero X and put it in there. Come on, there's no way. No way in the world that couldn't be fun. But it's never been that the F-Zero games have been critically panned as bad or anything. Though I do think GX did get a little unfair treatment because of its level of difficulty and it requiring you to be more skilled and quick and have quicker reflexes to really play it. But to be fair, no F-Zero game has really been called shitty. Unless it's just somebody who doesn't really like F-Zero, and that's more a style preference than it is a technical problem. But, people, if y'all want Nintendo to bring F-Zero back, and they do, when it does come out, buy it. Don't sit there and cry about what you don't, well, do that. But don't sit there and say, well, I'm not spending my money on the game that I've basically told them I wanted, i.e. Star Fox Zero, Federation Force. Don't do that, because you're going to give them mixed signals, and they are not going to go ahead and keep the series going. They won't keep pushing it forward. Oh, and another thing, and while I do believe these are good ideas, having a bounty hunter game based around Captain Falcon or any sort of spin-off game, those are good ideas, but that is not how those are not mainline F-Zero games. These are games that would be stories about characters on the side. And there are plenty of different stories that they can actually do for these individual characters, and different styles of games for the individual characters. But F-Zero does not need an open world game. I'm saying that right now. It does not need an open world game. I know that has to hurt someone's feelings, but you can't turn everything into open world. That dilutes, one, it dilutes how many open world games there are, and two, it kills that genre. I really wish everybody would stop asking for that. Not everything needs to be open world. What we need are good games that fit in their categories and don't always have to jump into 6 or 7 different other categories in order to be good games. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end this now, because I don't want to drag this on any more than I already have. But you guys go ahead and give your opinions. I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, look, I would love a new F-Zero game. I want to see it. But I do understand why Nintendo isn't actually spending money to put one out right now. So that's legitimately it. So thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. And peace out, everybody.